had some technical difficulties yesterday because there's a little bit of a learning curve on this fancy pants microphone system. So I am re-recording the same thing that I talked about yesterday. We're going to try a take two. I'm going to be honest with you. When I sat down to plan this week, I had absolutely no idea what I was going to talk to you about. I've been working a 60-hour work week. This inconsistent changing weather has been so unpredictable that it's been affecting my existing health issues, and I just hadn't had time to think about it. Normally what happens is that something during the week will come up that's relevant, that gets me to thinking. But this week I have been so utterly fried that I was past the point of no thoughts, only vibes, to the point where even my access to the vibes was questionable. And at some point I realized that a lot of this is my own fault. I was waiting for an obvious answer to just fall out of the sky into my lap, and I wasn't shutting up and listening for the inspiration that comes in the quiet. And I feel like our culture, in a lot of ways, encourages us to commit that error. We're conditioned to focus on the loud, the obvious, the dramatic, instead of listening for the deeper truth underneath. We grow up on these stories of divine visions, prophetic dreams. We hear about Joseph, about Buddha, about Muhammad, and how they got all this direct message from the divine. So when we go looking for inspiration, when we go looking for greater cosmic truth, we're expecting pillars of fire or a burning bush yelling at us, when what really happens when that wisdom actually comes, it sounds like the old man outside of the gas station saying, "Hey, can you help me out with $1? I'm trying to get something to eat." And that difficulty in hearing what's really being communicated bleeds over into our interactions with each other if we don't make the effort to hear people in the ways they actually communicate, instead of hearing what we think we're going to hear, regardless of what they said, and placing those expectations on them. It's easy to get anxious over a partner who doesn't do the grand gestures, who doesn't talk about feelings, and to fail to acknowledge the caring that goes into getting up early after a brutal late night shift to make sure that you have breakfast and coffee and a ride to work when things are going badly for you. It's easy to feel hurt and attacked and hear the anger when a spouse or a family member nags about whether you're helping enough or helping correctly enough with the housework. But then you miss what their actual concern is, that they feel overwhelmed by the mental load they're carrying, and they're afraid that if they don't get it all done, and if it's not right, then that's going to be one more way they've failed you, and they're afraid of looking like a failure. When we approach the people around us with a spirit of empathy and a willingness to understand, we end up realizing that when our friends and our family and our loved ones are absolutely tap dancing on our very last nerve, or when we feel like our insecurities at a deep soul level are being set off, or if we feel like we are shouting into the void, demanding answers, demanding inspiration, like, just give me something, we're still a whole lot more connected to each other and to the world around us than we think we are. Those moments where we get still enough and quiet enough to listen to the wisdom in the small things are the moments where love and compassion and community are born. I mean, there is a whole lot to be said about how incredibly problematic as a person Mother Teresa was, and how profoundly she failed at showing compassion, but she really had a point when she said, not all of us can do great things, but we can all do small things with great love. So what we need to be doing is slowing down and hearing that love from other people and seeing the value in those small things, because that's where the reality is. That's where the truth about how we're living is. That's where we feel the way that people care about us and the way that we treat them.